God has not forgotten about you. What can make me whole again? My enemy came upon me to eat of my flesh. They fell. Good evening, everybody, and we want to thank you all for joining us again during our Lighthouse Bible study. Sorry, let me get my phone out of the way so it doesn't mess the Reverend up over here.
Yes, sir, me too.
We're so glad to have you all again here with us to be a part of what we are doing here at the Lighthouse. So glad that you can tune in once again. For all of the faithful listeners here, we have, as you know, not being able to have Dr. Simonette back with us on this evening, but what I've decided to do was to change the format of our Bible study and bring in Reverend Gary Johnson, who is formerly the chairman of the SCLC worldwide and the Florida chapter worldwide, and he's going to tell you about some more about his changing a little bit later. And we're going to be dealing with the civil unrest that's in our land today. And we want to identify, if we can, what we feel like could possibly be the real problem. And then we want to move to what might be the solution. It's been said, I think, across the county and the nations now, that racism is the longest running pandemic that we've had in the world. And I'm going to have to agree, because no children are born racist. They have to be taught this stuff. So if somebody is yet teaching it, it's going to keep being manifested, unfortunately. So we are thanking God that he has given us the opportunity to be here this evening to talk with you all. Myself, Reverend Johnson, we're going to be talking about the things that have taken place here in our United States as it pertain to blacks as opposed to whites being killed, unarmed, gunned down, and the appearance that's being carried is that there really is no justice for us. As much as we try to make sure that things are done right, somehow people who are guilty, even on camera, they've been videoed, they somehow still get off. It's not a technicality. We know that it's really the racism that's taking place. We're going to ask Dr. Johnson. He's going to introduce himself, and then he's going to give us a few words on it. Then we're going to move forward with this format. Dr. Johnson.
Thank you, Bishop. I appreciate the opportunity, and to all your listening audience and to the Bible study, Bible brilliant minds that come here and get a word from God from our bishop. He's not only your bishop, he's our bishop. And so Lighthouse have to not only allow us to fellowship, well, you guys have to share him with our community and with our nation, because he's so greatly needed, man of integrity and a man of honor. And I'm pleased to be here with you and those who are listening by Facebook. My name is Reverend Gary Johnson, the former president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. I resigned a few months ago to only embark on being the national president of perhaps the most beautiful, loving, aggressive modern-day civil rights organizations, King Clergy. We were launched April 12th of this year, 2020, which was Resurrection Sunday, and it was so awesome for me. It happened to be my mom's birthday. She passed last year. One of the biggest things she was big on is civil rights economics. She said we have to focus on civil rights economics. And we did the civil rights. We have to do the civil rights now. Bishop, I got to tell you, this situation with our dear brother George Floyd is so disturbing to see the tape. You see it over and over. I'm sure the American people saw it over and over and over and over again. And it would enrage anyone. I got to tell you, there were so many people across this nation that is protesting civilly. As Dr. King says, we should protest civilly, and those laws that we disagree with, we should have civil disobedience, but resist sometimes even with violence. And as Farmer George said, a unjust law is no law at all.
Right.
So there's some things that we certainly need to get involved in, and that we are involved with. You've led the lead on many of these things. You know, sometimes you don't know what happens when some of the work you've been doing in our community, that you prevented a lot of these things happening, because there's no measuring tape for it.
Right.
But
right.
this has happened. It's happened for a reason, and I can't wait to dive into it, because there's so many things that I want to help also produce solutions for the problem.
Right, right.
So
right.
I'm certainly honored to be here.
All right, all right. So you said now that an unjust law is really no law at all?
No law at all.
And is it possible to say, or to add to that, that an unjust policeman is no policeman at all?
Absolutely. I think, unfortunately, Bishop, and I know this is a fact. I'm the police chaplain with Miami Beach Police.
Right.
My Chief Clements, and all of the officers, Assistant Chief Jones, and all the command staff, as well as our officers, have been very disturbed by this. So much so that
Should be.
Yeah,
And they should be.
yeah. And you know, it's interesting, Bishop. Chief Clements had already months ago sat down with a group of community leaders and talked about what we fail to realize it's called explicit biasness. So we all have some type of explicit biasness, and some of our officers have that and don't realize they have it. And sometimes they respond in a way that's not conducive to what a law enforcement should do in terms of upholding the law. And they got to be held accountable. There's no question about it. This situation is a first-degree murder.
It was.
First-degree murder, and the state attorney, Brother Ellis, who's a former congressman, by the way, met him. Wonderful brother, and I know he's going to do the right thing based upon the law. And so I'm confident we'll get the justice that we need in terms of all of the officers. Because keep in mind, Bishop, what most people didn't realize throughout this case, though that officer had his knee on his neck, the other two officers had their knee in his back and his legs, which cut off complete circulations for him to reach his heart. So they should be charged as well, equally as the coward that put his knee on his neck. So,
and let me make sure I got this right. Was it because they say he had counterfeit money? Is that what they were saying?
Allegedly. We know we use the words allegedly.
Yeah.
That's what they use, allegedly.
That
Well,
he
you know,
had
by
the
the time this case get a little further, they're going to say, what y'all didn't see on camera, he was threatening to kill me if he got up. They're going to use all kind of, that's going to come out. But it's going to be hard to prove because they had body cams on.
Right.
One of the officers said, if you get the transcripts, one of the officers said, as he was on the ground, he says, we need to check his pulse. And the officer that had his knee on his neck said, no, we're not moving. So that is a clear sign of, I intentionally want to bring harm on this young man.
So what do you think, Gary, would make a police officer, after he's been subdued, put his knee on a man's neck and the man saying, officer, I can't breathe? What would make a police officer stay there? He's got all kind of backup.
Sure.
You know, so it's not that his life was in danger. You know, I saw two of them standing, and even with the two that was assisting, even two more was standing. So it wasn't that his life was in danger, not from Floyd.
Right.
What would make him stay there when he continually tell him that I can't breathe? Even an EMT workman was there, and employee rather, and she said to him, you know, he's telling you right, he's not going to be able to breathe, but they didn't listen to him. What would make a police do something like that?
I can allude to one thing, and this is my hypothesis. I believe that without a question, and we go back to the explicit biasness, officers, whatever's in them, it's in them. And what has happened is, I can venture to say he's probably committed other issues similar to this.
Absolutely.
It's just, as that mama say, you just haven't been caught yet.
Right.
Now
right.
you've been caught.
Right.
And the message has to be very clear to all officers across this nation that if you commit these kind of heinous crimes, there's a level of law that you got to be held more than the average person that would commit this crime.
Right,
because you're
right.
supposed to uphold the law, and you're breaking it as if you're an assassin.
So can we say then that some police officers act as if they're above the law?
Oh, absolutely.
And would it be because they have no pending retribution or recourse for their actions? They know that they're going to be covered, or they kind of know that nothing is going to be done at all, so they go ahead and use the abuse of authority that they have to try to make their, would you say that's what we're
That's a
dealing
very
with?
good point you made, which is going to go right back into one part of my solutions that I was writing it down. I was talking to one of the pastors the other night, came by my house, and we were talking about this solutions, and he brought some great ideas, and I put my 2 cents in. But that goes to when that, based upon your comment, it goes to the fact that though, as one would say, though you admit something that this is an issue in the department, you're not owning it. So you can admit it, but you don't own it. You're still going to do the same thing.
Right.
And so apparently this is something that he had been getting away with, and other officers that do. They just haven't been caught yet. And unfortunately, what was getting missed in this, which I despise some of the looters and those who are breaking the stores, you're not a part of us. That's not what we do.
Right.
You're taking away from George Floyd's life, for what he lived for, and how he stood for what he was believing in, and his family legacy. Though you're not going to tarnish that, when the news are reporting the looting, that's not the issue. The issue is our brother Floyd has lost his life through murder, not assassin.
Right. Through a sworn in.
Yes, a sworn-in assassin.
Okay.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that again, a sworn-in assassin. I'm stealing that from you, Bishop. Yeah. And so it goes back to one of the things that we want to offer, and I'm glad I had a chance to talk to you about this, something that you said provoked some of these answers. And one of them was, is that the union has this, police has this department policy. They have department policies. And a lot of that has to change. The union has been negligent as well as this, because one of the solutions is when an officer commit these type of crimes, first of all, if they're found guilty, let's say for an example, someone's found guilty in many cases,
right,
though they may be fired from the department, they still get their pension. And the pension need to be taken away from them.
Right. You're absolutely right.
And also,
you're right. I just said that.
Yeah, even with that,
absolutely,
the pension should be taken away from them. But I think they should. Number two, they should also have to pay for their own insurance, because what happens is when you go to court, and the union or their lawyers have to defend this, the taxpayer paid for it.
Yeah.
In terms of the settlement.
And they just killed one of the taxpayers.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So that won't shorten their pay too much, but
right.
But again, there's so many things that we can actually do. The question is, to my Republican brothers and my Democrat, are you willing to take the stand for the people? Are you willing to really take the stand for humanity and not partisan?
For the people that voted for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's very, very necessary. Now, I deal with a cause and effects issue for myself, and that's kind of how I view things, because I've heard some people say all of the looting and all that. We don't agree with that, but here's where I am. I have to ask the question this, and you can respond to it, because you probably can help me out. If this officer had never killed Floyd, would that have happened? You see, you got a cause, then you got an effect.
Sure.
Now, could it be, here's where I am, could it be that history has repeated itself so much with a negative impact on us, on the black man, black family, that we automatically know that there's not going to be any repercussions? We know if you take it to trial, they're going to get off.
Sure.
And knowing this is as if they're saying, and again, this is not something we condone, we're just trying to give some insight and hopefully explain, is as if they're saying, we don't have any justice, we don't have any. Those who are in place, they're not giving us justice, they're covering the assailants in what they're doing. Only thing we know how to do is to get attention, is to do this. Wrong.
Right.
You know, that's wrong.
Right.
And the looting and all of that. But the only way we know how to get attention is to do this, because here's the way I'm looking at it. Here's the way I'm looking at it, the way some of them might be thinking. Once you start, like you say, hitting people's money,
Sure.
you know, you really get their attention. So now, again, not justifying anything, I'm just trying to see if I can understand the mindset of some. So if I close down your businesses, you ain't got no money. That's the only way I know how to let you get my attention.
Sure.
Talk to me on that, Don.
Well, it's interesting. That's a great question. With our officers, and I'm referring to the nationwide officers, there, and I know people always say, oh, you got to always add there's good officers. Of course, they're great officers.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
some officers.
of course.
Did you see the officer that pushed, the sister that pushed the officer that kicked the young lady on the ground? She pushed him away and told her, yo, don't do that, don't do that. And you can hear on tape, like, pushing him away. Don't, you know, that's not necessary. But what has happened, Bishop, is accountability has to be held to a certain standard. And that has to come from the top. One of the things I believe that should be a solution in this, and to take away from the union this kind of influence, where the chiefs should have the authority to fire. And they don't, because they can fire you, but the union can get you right back to the job.
Right.
And how many times did that happen? That happens so often, you know, and this is not a place of bashing law enforcement.
No, not at all.
And I know you wanted
Not
to
at
make
all.
sure that was clear, but this is a place of accountability.
That's it.
You cannot.
That's it.
Under no circumstances. I'm enraged, but God knows it's like Jeremiah. It's fire inside my bones right now, but it won't explode. But let me say this to you, and I wanted to say to the Facebook fans and Facebook people that's listening all across this nation. Do I need to be civil as the people are doing all across the United States? Do we need to continue to be civil and protest and march and have prayers and vigils? And we've been doing that for years, even during Dr. King days. And Dr. King gave us a legacy to live by, that we have to make sure we continue with nonviolence. But is it to a point that we need to have concealed weapon license just to go to the store and walk out the store to get shot dead, just to take a jog in your community and see two cars blocking the street and you just running in their direction to go around them to be shot and killed?
That's right. That's right.
Should I be in a situation where your head is being bashed in the ground?
Right.
Do I need a gun to do I need a gun to go to the store to go buy me some Skittles and a Long Island iced tea just to get back to my dad's house who's on? Do I need a gun to do that? So you better pray. They better pray, America better pray that we choose the latter to be civil, because it's getting to a point that, trust me, we're like, I'll take the words from Tupac, we ain't no killers, but you better stop pushing us.
Oh, yeah. And this is what we don't want to get to, because one of the things that get my attention is the injustice that is perpetuated. You know, I can see if it happened 2 or 3 times, you know, and then they kind of quit, then 10 years down the road they do it again. But it's every time.
Right.
Even when Trayvon Martin was killed, we had to meet with some of the BSO officers at their office there off of Broward, and he called us in to say, we don't know, you know, what the outcome is going to be, but we need you to talk to your parishioners so there'll be no uprising. Okay, you just told me you're getting ready to find him innocent.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You just, if there was nothing that was going to take place, you didn't need to call us in.
Right.
You didn't call us in before, you know, so you don't need to call us in now. And this is the kind of stuff that we're used to. It appears as if any time a black man is shot, black woman is shot, we already know that there's not going to be any repercussions for the one that shot them. I had a member that was shot. A man crossed the street, stole his lawn equipment. White guy stole his lawn equipment. They called the police. He called the police. He retrieved his shears from the guy. The police roll up. He's out there telling them, this guy across here stole my lawn equipment. They roll up on him.
Right.
and say, drop your weapon, drop your weapon. He said, no, no, I'm telling you this, right, drop your weapon. And when he threw up his hand like this to say, I'm the one that called you, with the shears in his hand,
Right.
they shot him. 2 officers emptied their gun in the man.
Yes.
When he got to the funeral home director said, I've never seen anybody that I had to remove these many bullets from.
Wow.
Nothing happened to them at all. And the guy who stole his equipment said nothing to him.
Wow.
Isn't that something?
That is.
When this kind of stuff continue to happen, it's almost as if we don't have any recourse other than what the people are doing. And once again, we're not condoning that. We're just trying to explain what we feel might be in their thought process. You
Yes.
know, when you feel helpless, then you do something. You know, you don't just fall out. You just do something about feeling helpless. Talk to me.
Sure. You know what, Bishop? I love what the actor, Academy Award-winning actor, Joaquin Phoenix said. He said that it isn't the work of black people to undo racism. It's the work for those who have benefit from it.
Mm.
The day our evangelical, I've never seen, please help me with this one. You've been in the ministry all over the world. You preach all over the world. Please help me with this. I need your help on this one. Can I solicit your help?
Yes, sir.
Please tell me when there has been a situation such as this, Trayvon Martin, and many other cases, many other cases that's not even reported. One of our young brothers that was even driving his car had a concealed weapon license. The officer got convicted, obviously. Thank God for that. He played piano in the church, and he was shot on the highway.
In West Palm.
Yeah, in West Palm.
Yeah.
Please tell me, when has there ever been a Caucasian or Anglo-American evangelical pastor that got together and they came together as a group and said, we are not going to stand for this. Mm-hmm. We're not going to allow this to happen because we represent the Lord, Jesus, in the Word, what the Word has to say. Mm-hmm. If you're silent on these issues, I don't understand why we are people of color that goes to these churches and give our tithe and give our offerings to help them build their churches up to get more and more and more, but they don't even stand for them. Mm-hmm. They don't even stand for it. And it's an indictment on people that say they represent the God that we know. And again,
I think
accountability is important.
I think to answer that, you'd have to deal with some variables. And I say that because a lot of times things like that may not be advertised even though it's taking place.
Yes.
You may not see it because nobody is filming and putting that out there.
Right.
At the same time, it could be that you have some who will do like you say, and then there are some, I believe, and I'm just kind of going through what's processing in my head, there are some, I believe, that may have fear of going out and doing these kinds of things. And I can't, say a whole lot of negative stuff about them because I have to find out why you didn't go. If they say we didn't know, or we needed somebody to call us and organize this, I don't know what the situation might be. It's very good. 1957, Martin Luther King. He started at SCLC with 57 ministers, not all black.
Right.
There were some white ones there too.
Right.
So I think what we need to do, if I can put it this way, why don't we first unify with them as black preachers and to some degree maybe educate them as to who we are. It doesn't matter, how high they up. Here we are, and let them know that as Americans, what happens to us is a reflection of Americans everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's a reflection of Americans everywhere. So I can't just condemningly say that the whites don't come out, because that picture that we saw, it wasn't preachers, but all these white folk laying on the ground with their hands behind them saying we can't breathe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's a generation coming now that's not scared of us because they've gone to school with us and went to school with our children. Right. Some of them, their best friends are black. Some of them done married. Sure. Like their son-in-laws and all that. They're not afraid of us. But you got some who still have this fear. Sure. They still have the mentality of if they move into our neighborhood, oh my God, there goes the neighborhood kind of stuff. You have that kind of thing going on. Right. But for the Caucasian clergy, I just believe that if we could connect with them before something like this happened, they'll come out and stand with us,
Sure.
And how many of us have invited them, to come? I don't know. I'm just saying. How many have invited them and said, would you all please call your fellow clergy over there across town, whoever, and bring about 10 of them with you. Let's stand together on this cause. I don't know if anybody ever did that,
Right.
even for them.
Well, Bishop, my response to that is America's is on fire right now.
Right, right.
And if they don't see that, and they don't see what's going on, that's blatantly saying, we see it, but we don't want to get involved.
Right.
And if it's a sense of fear, and I think the scripture says God didn't give us a spirit of fear. And I don't know what Bible.
But that don't mean they don't have it.
Yeah, well, point well taken.
It's just that God didn't give it to them.
Point well taken. Point well taken. But I do want to get back to something, Bishop, that you brought up earlier, and because accountability, and I think some laws need to be changed. But the law enforcement, they have this what you call the Bill of Rights, and that Bill of Rights that's like their Bible.
Okay.
And they're very concerned about that being touched. And this is the time it needs to be. Let me make this call out to the governor. It's not going to be a popular position for his those who stand with him and he supports, and they support him. It's not going to be a popular position, but it's going to be the right decision for him to change laws, particularly with the Bill of Rights, holding municipalities responsible on how they govern our community. Because again, Bishop, I'm telling you, there's hundreds of thousands of Brother Floyd. There are hundreds of thousands of Trayvon Martins. But what's amazing to me that if you talk about civil disobedience, and if you talk about rioting, let's go back to something. The Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma, back in the 40s, when allegedly there was a white mob said that it was a black man that raped and touched a white woman. Right,
and that's all they need is an accusation. They don't need proof.
Bishop, they burnt up the whole city. They burnt, raped, killed, literally a whole city, economic city that we had our own. So if they ever tell us who invented this killing, this rape, they invented that.
Absolutely.
So I agree with Brother Joaquin Phoenix. They need to fix this. It's not our job to fix it. But I'm going to tell you this, they're not going to keep killing our people. And I'm telling you.
Nothing be said
and nothing
or
be
done.
said and done.
Yeah, nothing be said or done. Because you touched on the point that I was thinking about, because I heard somebody on social media call them animals.
Yes.
And so look at those people out there. They're just like animals. Okay. Now, when you think about, we've been hung.
Yes.
We've been tarred and feathered. They have bombed our houses and set them on fire.
Yes.
Who really is the animal?
Right.
Yeah. We didn't do anything.
Yes.
They did stuff to us for looking at a white lady. We didn't touch it.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Who really is the animal?
Yes.
After you've done all of that stuff to us, how do you call us animals because we strike back in the only way that we know how, though unlawful, though we don't agree with that, but to strike back the only way I know how. And you're right. They're the ones started that.
Yes, sir.
In 1940, they burned that entire city.
Yes.
That we lived in.
Yes. Yeah. Operated our own businesses and everything.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mind our own business.
If they did that, then that was the example set.
Yes.
Y'all kind of taught us what to do. So
yes.
What are you going to say about that?
Isn't that interesting, Bishop, that back then they sent in the National Guard Army in Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma. The president said that I don't know why these municipalities are not using the National Guard. And if you don't use it, I'm going to send them in. That's what the president said. Well,
listen, we can expect that.
Yeah.
We can expect that. Here's one of the problems I think that is out there, and this is just my own insight. I think we had, back in the day when that took place, we had Aryan brothers that was in law enforcement.
Yes.
Some of them was the chief,
Yes.
The Grand Wizard and all that. We still have them.
Yes, sir.
in law enforcement.
Yes, sir.
And I think that should be, to me, a disqualification part of being hired if we say, are you an Aryan brother? That means you hate blacks. We can't take you on because that's a violation of commitment to the community because you're going to be biased against blacks.
Right.
I think something needs to be said about them, and they not be hired until they can get to a place where they are not going to profile us
Yes.
as we're driving or pull us over for nothing.
Right.
For nothing. I drove into my development, went past the entrance where the arm go up, go down a little. I saw a policeman standing there, go down a little further. One of them pulled me over. He called him. He must have told him to pull me over. And he pulled me over, and he says this to me. He says, you have your license and registration? Sure. Do you live here? Yes. He said, well, we're here because we're having break-ins in the community.
Right.
You know, I said, wow, well, I'm glad you're here then, you know, that'd be good. Maybe we can start the break-in. And he looked at me and said this to me, you're not breaking in homes, are you? This was a white policeman that said this to me.
Wow.
You're not breaking in homes in it. And I caught myself because I almost said to him, no, I leave that for the white guys, you know, and I almost said that.
Right.
And then I got friends in law enforcement and family, and they said, I'm glad you didn't say nothing because they know how to frame you and set you up and make you look like you've done something that you didn't do. Now think about that.
Yeah.
You know, they can frame you, they can set you up,
absolutely.
and they're going to take their word
Yes.
before they take yours.
Right.
Because they're going to cover for one another. I think you ought to cover for one another, but at the same time, cover them if they made a mistake, not if they just intentionally went out there and done something,
Yes.
some crazy stuff. That's kind of the city that we live in, you know.
Yes.
I'm going home,
Yes.
you know. And he talking about there's some break-ins. So I don't think if it was a white guy, he would have asked him that.
Absolutely
You know,
not.
but this is us being profiled. We're being pulled over like this all the time. And I know there are some of the whites out there, they just don't understand. Everything can't be black and white. If it happened to you constantly, then you would understand why we feel the way that we feel.
Yes.
You know, that's why we can call one another slang names
Sure.
and titles and all that, and it
Sure.
don't mean anything. But then when you say it, we get offended.
Right.
Because we know you're not saying it from the right spirit.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Talk to
You know, you walk that almost as if you walk your text. Bishop, it's a time right now that history has to be written for us.
Mm-hmm.
I watched for days young people protesting from their heart, standing up with each other, black, white, Hispanic, African American, Haitian, all of those young people, as well as older people, are standing up for justice. Again, the sad part of it is there are some young people that are there to stir up. And I was told last week that some billionaire had been paying these kids allegedly a part of the Black Lives Matter to go out and wreak havoc. And I saw one part to take one young Caucasian kid gave a young black man some money and said, go break the windows, go break into it. And I saw that with my own eyes. And a lot of these kids are not from our communities. Listen, you and I were raised over there in Miami.
Yes, sir.
In Overtown, Liberty City.
305.
When this happened with our brother that was killed, the Miami riots, they tore up Miami.
Mm-hmm.
You notice Miami's not tore up where we live at?
Mm-mm.
It's because we understood what it took to rebuild it back.
Mm-hmm.
And how long it took to get rebuilt.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing right now, not our people, I would say literally 80% of those kids out there are Caucasian that's breaking into, you can see it on tape. They break it, and many of them
you
are
are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. I'm gonna pull this. I'm gonna pull up this this statistic here because when you think about what is taking place, we know that it's unfair, but it's staggering to get real statistics. 2015, when we had 104 unarmed blacks killed, 104 2015 unarmed blacks killed, only 35 cases where you had someone that was charged. You only had 4 that was convicted.
Right.
And then 1 that was sentenced to some time. Now, I'm talking about police officers, and he had to serve that time over the weekends, if you can imagine that.
Wow.
He served his time. He was sentenced to a year, but he served it only on the weekends. Now, he still goes back to his family, but the person that he killed can't go back.
Right.
You got a mother that's grieving now, and the person that shot and killed her son, her daughter, the children's mama or the children's father, shot and killed them. You got some that out of the 4, you got 2 that's still pending. One charges was dismissed, and the other one get a year, but he can serve it during the weekend. Yeah. Go on the weekend spree, go in there and just sit in there and drink coffee and smoke and whatever they do, and come out. But when you hear this kind of stuff, you got to tell yourself, how do we get past this gridlock?
Yes.
That seemingly the court systems and the police officers have on us, to where they can do this and get by. How do we respond, and I'm talking about in a civil manner now, how do we respond to make sure that these things, if they're not completely stopped, they'll slow down? I do know that if we somehow hit them in the pockets,
Oh, absolutely.
hit them in the pockets, they're gonna stop. If we stop spending our money, in certain areas, they're gonna stop. But how do we approach this in today's time and with this civil unrest?
I think, again, we go back to a few things. Take their pension away from them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, remember that, when a family has filed a civil lawsuit against the department and end up winning, we, the taxpayer, pay for their negligence.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should carry their own insurance now,
Mm-hmm.
and let them take care of that, of their own mistakes that they made. And I know some of them ain't mistakes because they do it deliberately.
Their acts.
Yeah, their acts, I should
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think the FDLA need to take their license for them not to be able to practice any type of law enforcement nowhere.
Right, because they can get fired from one
They
department
can
and
go
go
up
get hired.
in Oklahoma,
Yeah,
Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma.
yeah.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota, and go get another job.
Right.
But I got to commend Brother Ellis, who's the state attorney up in Minnesota. Brilliant brother, brilliant man, and he's going to seek justice. And I'm confident that we'll get the outcome. I know they raised the charge up to second-degree murder now, which is not far from first degree. I think we do need to push the envelope that he should be charged first-degree murder.
Right.
Quite frankly, to me, it was premeditated. I can sit on somebody's neck. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm on your neck, and I don't care if you don't breathe. I don't care if you stop breathing. I'm still gonna stay on your neck.
Yeah.
You're consciously knowing you are putting damage into this man's life. And I think you need to be charged with first-degree murder. I think you should get the chair, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because they get away with so much, and a message need to be sent to them directly. And this is no indictment on our officers, because I'm talking about the officers that keep breaking the law.
Those are the ones.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about our good officers.
Because remember now, you got bad preachers
Yes, sir.
that need to be kicked out of Christianity.
Yes, sir.
Just like you have bad officers that need to be put off the force.
Yeah, just like the one that's trying to exploit this one right now.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Some money.
You got some bad preachers that should have never been over nobody. They just need to be put out the church and put out of religion and all that, because they're a bad influence. But by the same token, you got some wonderful preachers.
Absolutely.
It's the same way in law enforcement. You got some people out there who believe in being right, dealing with justice when it comes to us. Some of them may be afraid, but they'll take the chance on talking to, as opposed to, just acting, shoot first and act later. I have to applaud the police force down in Miami, who came outside and kneeled down and apologized to
Yes,
the people
sir.
that was there. This is the kind of stuff that we need. I think we're moving in the right direction, because if we can have policemen that will just apologize to us.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
That tells me that you're not insensitive. If you can apologize to me. Question was asked by one of the white observers of what was taking place. They asked the question, what would Martin Luther King do? And then Sister Brett Stephen out of Houston, Texas say, we don't know, y'all killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what he'd do.
Right.
Yeah.
You killed him for that reason.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's what I'm talking about. So I think it's wonderful if we can bridge the gap between black society and the police force, because you and I was told this.
Yes,
you
sir.
and I was told this, that there was a sheriff that would go around to churches, and he had somebody on his force
Yes.
that said to him, you go to the black churches, we're not going. That was two of his majors. He
Yes,
said,
sir.
you go to the black churches, we're not going. We're not going to set foot in there.
Yes, sir.
Now, to have somebody on your force like that,
Right.
what does that say?
Yes.
You know, you got people who say, we're not going to the black churches.
Yeah.
That means you shouldn't have that badge.
Yes, sir.
You know, you shouldn't have the title that you got,
Yes, sir.
because you're already admitting that, you know, I'm already biased. I'm not going. I don't have nothing to say to them. Don't want anything to do with them. That's a sad case. Right?
Yes.
That's a sad case. Now, those are, to me, those are the bad policemen.
Yes.
You know, if a police is just scared of black folk, here's what I say: assign him all the way over there in the Caucasian area. Just keep him over there.
Yes.
You know, then he can have recommendations and all that. Don't have to worry about coming over here.
Yes.
But if he's not afraid and and know how to deal with people and be cordial toward all kind of people, Hispanic, whatever, then okay, he can let him work over here.
Yeah.
But this kind of stuff that's taking place,
Yes.
it's got to stop some kind of way.
Yeah, and we have to push the envelope, and we have to drive the narrative. And
Mhm.
again, going back to the fact that our brother Floyd, we watched him take his last breath.
Mm-hmm.
We watched a real assassination, and I can't blame the community to be enraged right now, because it happens so much and so often.
We don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Bishop, I'm gonna tell you what we need to do,
Yeah.
because I know God has sent many of us to, whether we on the ground, whether we may not get the CNN, the MSNBC,
Mm-hmm.
we don't need all of that. We just need a voice,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's the voice from God.
Yeah.
We've already prayed. Dr. King already marched, but there's one thing I remember, a quote from him that I've never forgotten, and I quote it quite often, and even to myself. You know, he said, in time like this, when you can't fly, run.
Mm-hmm.
When you can't run, walk. When you can't walk, crawl, but by any means, keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
It's time that we keep moving,
Mm-hmm.
and we moving forward
Mm-hmm.
to make these changes for our kids to be able to walk down the street and not be concerned. I've heard so many mothers, parents say, Gary, I'm so terrified for my child.
Yeah.
This is the first time
Yeah.
I got a 16-year-old, my son Giovanni, and he lives in a pretty decent neighborhood. But I'm even concerned for him,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm so concerned that a few years ago, back in 2000, I think it was 2006, I did a rally with about 15 to 2,000 people. I led this rally and ended up speaking. It's on my Facebook Live, and I talked about that when Denzel said one of the most prophetic statements. He says, I'm not going to bury my son. My son will bury me.
Mm-hmm.
When we sing Brother Floyd and Trayvon Martin, so many, Eric Gardner, and our sisters, and so many of our people have lost their lives. It ain't the quote that we often use, enough is enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's the quote we need to use now. And I think Michelle Spence-Jones and Gail Spivey said it the best. We talked about this earlier on the conference call. Not on our watch.
Mm-hmm.
That's the slogan. It's not on our watch.
Right.
Amara De Negra,
Yes.
the young sister from Love and Hip Hop, so passionate about that. I did a live chat with her on Instagram, and her passion, and from her heart, how she even broke down, even she was out in the marching with the people, to see a young woman, regardless of her celebrity status, decided that I needed to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And celebrities are speaking out right now, and I think this is a way of God, way of knitting our hearts together, our people, no matter what race they're from. Some things have to happen, and unfortunately, Brother Gardner Trayvon Martin, and now Brother Floyd has been sacrificial lambs. But we cannot let that die. It's time that they die for a reason. We must make sure that our people live for a reason.
And I think we don't need to protest the way they're doing.
Yes.
Because as preachers, we don't condone violence and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
That's not us. However, we will try to understand the minds that's doing it, because how can you help someone if you don't even understand them? And that's why we are trying to wrap our mind around why they're doing that. This is kind of like the only way they know how to respond. But I think it's necessary that we get an approach to this that's going to help us to pull, first of all, the community together.
Yes.
Our black community together.
Yes.
And then stand together and make the request as one. Now, here's what we need for our black community. When we're electing city officials, it'll be a wonderful thing if all of us knew what our black community needs, stood together and say that to elected officials so that they can promise to give us what it is that we need. And it's not always money. Sometimes we just want to have, a fair share.
Yes.
Of this. Give us an opportunity, the same opportunity that you're giving everybody else. You got all of these millions and billions of dollars to run the city. Don't give us thousands and give everybody else millions.
Yes.
Because all that is designed to keep us down. And I don't think that once we as black folk get up in the upper echelon, start treating us the same way.
Yes.
You already know how we feel. So if you're being elevated, you got to be careful that you are not in an Esther situation when she was told, listen, don't think you're going to get by just because you're there.
Yes, sir.
God may have put you in place for such a time as this. So I just believe that when we're elevated, we have been elevated to be the voice at that level that can't be heard at this level.
Yes,
if
sir.
you know what I mean.
Yes, sir.
So when we're voting people into office, I think we should vote them into office based on what it is that our communities are needing,
Yes.
as opposed to just saying, watch this now, he black or she's black. No. Are they going to take our needs and put them on the table?
Yes.
Not just because they're black, because you have in some instances, you have Caucasian people that's fighting to try to meet the needs more than the others.
Yes.
And I don't think that should be.
Right.
And anybody, well, I won't even say that. Go ahead and talk.
Well, you know what, Bishop, you got, what is, and I think I'm a softball this one, because we lost brother Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
But what came out of this is it made me think about when Dr. King was fighting, he had Harold Belafonte.
Right.
That put his money up and supported it.
Mm-hmm.
When Malcolm X was fighting, he had Muhammad Ali put his money up and supported
You're going
him.
right down the road.
And I'm so proud to see when Floyd Mayweather reached out to the family and put up to pay for the funeral, which was $88,500 something that he offered the money to pay for the funeral. And didn't do it for publicity purposes.
Right.
He did it because there was a need. And to see our celebrities come out openly to support families and see this, it's a blessing. I think J-Lo and A-Rod and so many others, people making statements and coming out.
Right.
Bradley Cooper, who I love, who I think should be the president, really have been working behind the scenes and in front of the scenes to work on towards the equality of life for people, but also breaking down this racial barrier. I wish we take the opportunity, and you asked a question earlier. My solution, and this is a real tangible solution, it takes 5 to 10 minutes, 365 days a year. It takes you 5 minutes, and you can change the condition of our people. And that's by doing one thing, and that's get out and vote. Let's get out and vote. And what I mean by that, your vote counts. And right now, this election is going to determine whether you stay home and allow another debt, or you get up and you provide an opportunity for us to live, not survive, but live, because our elderly people are counting on us. And right now, the economy, they say it's doing good. I don't know where that got that one from, but The only thing that's doing.
Their economy.
Yeah, their economy is doing good.
Yeah.
But the only thing that I heard that, understand is doing well is the stocks.
Right.
You know,
right,
and,
right.
of course, New York, the stock market is doing well, but I'm certainly believing, I'm optimistic about that. But Bishop, if you walk out your door
Mm-hmm.
and walk to that next corner, which is 2 blocks away, that's how much of a time that there's a time bomb waiting for the next incident to happen.
Absolutely.
And so we have to
Absolutely.
move, we have to move
Absolutely.
expeditiously. And I'm praying that our legislators make this a priority. They should be coming out right now and saying, here is some policies that we need to put in right now
Right.
and
Right,
drive it.
right,
And let every
right.
Democrat and every Republican vote on it. And those who don't vote, let's publicly announce who they are, because they should be out of office. Because life shouldn't be determined off of a vote. It should be automatic. You
Right.
should be providing policies that's going to make sure that people live, and stop sitting back and playing partisans about who's in charge when neither one are doing nothing to really glorify the importance of life. It has to be a sense of urgency right now for America.
Make sure people live equally,
Yes.
you know, not just live, because they
Yes, sir.
living.
Yeah,
They
we've been
living,
surviving
just,
forever.
just a lot of us now.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So here's the deal. Y'all remember in Missouri when Michael Brown was killed by the police? We got Freddie Gray, his death in 2015. Eric Garner, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Delron Small. All of these people were killed. We got a list of all of the folk that's been killed by police. Just to call a few names, we're getting ready to close, and we thank you all for that. It's about 120 names here on this sheet that we can really go down the list and call the roll of the people that's been shot and been killed, black men, black women, by police officers. And I wish I could have found the story that I was looking for, where the guy was at the gas station. He went into his car to try to get some, I guess, ID or something, and the police shot him while he was bending over in his car.
Yes,
you know. Now,
I remember.
now this is crazy. If they are scared of us, they don't need to be driving through our neighborhoods, you know,
Yes.
because they think we're gonna put the boo game on them.
Yes.
And then next thing you know, they pull out their gun and start shooting. You don't need to do that. But the reason that we run is because we know what y'all gonna do if you catch us, and ain't nobody looking. You try to pull us over in a dark place, we scared.
Absolutely.
That's why we keep driving to light. Then y'all say we resisted arrest. No, we trying to get to where some people can see us when we pull over, because we don't know what y'all gonna do to us.
Right.
That's why, and we look suspect when we do that. But it's almost like, what choice do we have? If you are shooting on sight, shooting, I ask question later, we don't want to be killed unnecessarily. We get stopped, we got to stick our hands out the door. Y'all know everybody don't do that. We got to put our hands on the steering wheel.
Yes.
That's profiling. Y'all saying to us that if we don't do that, we run the risk of not making it home, because you're gonna do it. And let me say this as I close. A friend of mine was stopped with his wife in the car. Black officers came
Right.
around to him and said to him, "Give me your license and your registrations." He said, "Sir, can I ask you why you stopped me?" He said, "Shut up. I'm talking." I said, "Okay," gave him the license and registration. He said, "Sir, I need to tell you that I have a weapon in the gun. I got a permit, a weapon in the car. I got a permit for it. Didn't I tell you to shut up?" This is a black guy talking to a black guy in front of his wife.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
That kind of attitude don't need to be on a police force, because it's as if he was trying to incite something so that he can show that he's in charge.
Yes.
That kind of attitude should not be on the police force. It just should not. We should have police out there that they're supposed to protect and serve, not hunt down and kill.
Right.
Protect and serve. And we need to feel safe in our own communities from the police, but we don't feel that way. We got a force right here in Fort Lauderdale that is known as the killer force, because they're used to shooting everybody. Every time they stop, they be ready to shoot. You know, we need to stop all of this kind of stuff. We need to get this stuff right. I'm going to let you have the last word, then I'm going to close this out
Well, Bishop,
with this list.
I'm going to do what Brother Reverend Stonewall said as we was getting in the car. Whether sleet, snow, or rain, put your hat on, put your raincoat on. If that's what it requires for you to march and get out there, Dr. King and so many others did it for us. I'm going to put my hat on. I'm going to put my raincoat on, and then when I leave here, I'm going to continue to do what me and Reverend Stonewall and yourself keep advocating for nonviolence and have peaceful protesting, but also take that same energy and tenacity and start propelling us to get ready to get to the polls. Early voting, and I'm telling you, it will make a difference. But more importantly for me, I'm looking forward to make a change. Got to get out there and do it. I know we can do it. And I pray that nothing that you and I have said today and tonight, people take it out. Be quick to take things out of content. So let me be crystal clear. My primary goal, standing right here speaking to you, is number one, we have to keep peace in our community. No looting, no tearing up, no breaking into people's places, but just demonstrate peacefully. And more importantly, which many of the preachers, and I've seen many of them do, they had press conferences, and they prayed. And that needs to go forward.
Absolutely.
And then there need to be some actions.
Absolutely.
Frederick Douglass did it the best. He prayed for years, Bishop, during slavery time, asking God to get us out of this condition. On his knees, he prayed and prayed. But the minute he got up, God changed it. We got to get up now and get to the polls. So thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate you. I love you. And King Clergy is now on the move. It's a national civil rights organization that's been launched April 12th.
He started it too.
Yeah, Resurrection Sunday. Well, to you and to Pastor Keith Reed, E. Dewey Smith, Kerwin Lee, and Ralph West, and Artie Jackson, Reverend Carl Johnson, to Bishop Curry, who really fought this fight for us for many years, who helped up the bloodstained banner, and keeping his legacy. Dr. King did a great work.
Right,
but there were
right.
local pastors that fought within our community, and Bishop Curry was one of them. So I pray that God give him strength and continue to move forward.
Yes.
And keep him lifted up in prayer, the Newport family, and to all those our family members, white, black, Hispanic, Latino, Haitian, we all one. As Frankie Beverly May said, we all one. No matter what we do, deep down inside, we all one. Bless you, man.
Yeah. We want to thank you all for viewing us today. I just want to read a few names. Eric Garner, John Crawford III, Michael Brown, Ezell Ford, Dante Parker, Michelle Couzeau, Laquan McDonald, George Mann, Tanisha Anderson, Akai Gurley, Tamir Rice, Romaine Brinson, Jeremy Reed, Matthew Ajabadi, Frank Smart, Natasha McKenzie, Tony Robinson, Anthony Hill, Maya Hill, Philip White, Eric Harris, Walter Scott, William Chapman II, and the list goes on and on of the people that are in their grave now, and they are not even responsible for that. Somebody that was irresponsible is responsible for them being in their grave. This is what we want to stop. We've got to work at trying to acquire two things: political power and economic power. Once we do that, we can change the laws of the city. And when we have some good people running for office, let's put them in place.
Yes, sir.
So that they can echo what's coming from our community to the conference table. When they sit at the table, the heartbeat of our community need to be at that table, not just somebody who's trying to get reelected or trying to promote themselves. Let's do that. Brother Johnson said, let's get out and vote. Don't just vote, but vote for somebody. Do your research, find out what their values are, how they best fit us. Now, they may not be your color, once again, but if they're going to go for what we're going to go for, I say let's put them in office so that we can begin to move forward, because we need a voice. We need a voice at the top.
Yes, sir.
We really need a voice at the top, and if we're not striving to put one there, then we're going to have to repeat the things that we are going through now. But thank God for each and every one of you, and we thank you for tuning in to be a part of this. We may not have covered it the way you wanted to, but we didn't want this to go by and we say absolutely nothing about it. We wanted to make sure that you all hear our views and expressions when it comes to these kinds of things, because clergy should be speaking up. I was so glad, Gary, to hear LeBron James say, wow, we can't even jog no more. You know, I was so glad to hear him say that, and I think it would be wonderful if much more professional athletes, actors, and all that just come on out and join with us. I promise you, we won't ask you for your autograph. We just want you to stand with us and go and help us get this job done. But thank all of you so much for joining in.